So we have a new Avengers Doomsday reported leak that talks about how Marvel Studios could bring back Wanda in Avengers Doomsday and or Avengers Secret Wars. Now this plot leak is very long and detailed, and it does tie into the Fantastic Four first steps, and it also does tie into some other leaks that we've heard recently. And it ties into that leaked concept art that was released not too long ago for Avengers Doomsday. So there's a good chance that all or some of this could be very accurate, including a part that talks about the end of the Fantastic Four first steps. So when the Fantastic Four first steps comes out, we'll know if this is true or not, if the Fantastic Four part that is mentioned in this does happen in the film. So like I mentioned, this is a compilation of basically a new report from James Mangold, who has been leaking a lot for Avengers Doomsday recently. Also Alex Perez from thecosmiccircus.com, and leaked concept art. According to James Mangold, he claims he got information from a source working in the design department on some Marvel projects. But of course, as with all leaks, some end up being true and some end up being not true, so take it with a grain of salt. According to the leak, in Avengers Doomsday, Robert Downey Jr.'s Victor Von Doom plans to survive the end of everything and forge his own world. Doom discovers that Earth 616 is the central sacred timeline, held together by two anchor beings. He wants to eliminate them so the sacred timeline collapses more quickly. One of these beings is already dead, Tony Stark. The other is Peter Parker. Now right away, some of you might be thinking, as I thought when I first read this sounds like Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine in the TVA did stress that the 616 is the sacred timeline, different than Deadpool's and any others out there. And while we haven't heard of two anchor beings existing in one universe, it would make sense that if one universe was kind of different and above the others, with the others having one anchor being, the sacred timeline could have two anchor beings, especially if you consider how close Tony and Peter were. Also, Doom wanting to essentially eliminate the sacred timeline faster is basically what Paradox wanted to do with the Time Ripper for Deadpool's universe. But we continue. A team including Sam Wilson, Thor, Captain Marvel, Shang-Chi, Ant-Man, Jennifer Walters, and others is tasked with stopping an incursion between two worlds and rescuing Monica Rambeau. Now this is tying into an old leak that we have heard from James Mangold a couple of weeks ago. They later protect Loki at the Citadel after uncovering the TVA and Dr. Doom's plan. The Fantastic Four join the mission after Doom kidnaps Franklin Richards and takes him to Universe X. And we're about to find out the very specific reason that Dr. Doom wants Franklin Richards. But they state, meanwhile, John Walker, Ghost, and Red Guardian remain on Earth 616 to defend against an unknown invasion alongside the Thunderbolts, Wakanda, Talokan, and Wong sorcerers. And here's where we get a little bit more clarity on this previous report. Doom sends an army of Doombots and generals to eliminate Peter Parker, the last pillar of Earth 616. Visual concepts currently in development show Doom's ship as a colossal, planet-like circular structure, with his mask sculpted at the center. The storyline connects directly to Brand New Day, and yes, Peter Parker will be in Doomsday. With the film's delay, there's now room to integrate Tom Holland more deeply. They need that emotional parallel between Peter and the image of Tony Stark that Doom carries with him. And I've been saying this for a while, and I'm sure everybody's been saying it, but yeah, we're not going to have Robert Downey Jr. come in as Dr. Doom to not address the fact that he looks exactly like Tony Stark. And I've been stating that when Peter finally sees him, it's probably going to mess him up a little bit. In fact, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be really taken aback by it. Regardless, they definitely have to address this at some point in time because, again, why bring Robert Downey Jr. back if you're not going to use his face? They're paying him over $100 million to return. You know they're going to show his face a lot. But it continues. Doom travels to the universe where Monica Rambeau is trapped, aiming to kill that universe's anchor, Charles Xavier. He leads a direct assault on the X-Mansion using Sentinels. After witnessing the power of the Sentry who was on that Earth alongside the Avengers, Doom decides to use him as a living energy source for his new world. A concept art I worked on for Avengers Secret Wars shows the Sentry in the Earth's core functioning as a reactor. The the one that leaked. So this is James Macwell's source talking to him, and again, that source is supposedly somebody who is working on the design for Avengers Doomsday right now, and supposedly, obviously we can't confirm this is true, but supposedly they created that concept art, who a lot of people thought was actually Johnny Storm. According to this report, it's actually the Sentry being used as the Earth's core, and I will say that in the comics, Doom and actually his wife, Sue Storm on Battleworld, choose to use Johnny as the sun for their Earth. Johnny betrays Doom and Sue, and Doom lets Sue pick the punishment, so they basically turn him into the sun. Pretty messed up, but this seems to fall in line kind of with that story as well, using Sentry as the power source. And here's where we're getting to the Scarlet Witch. It states, Doom also needs the powers of Wanda Maximoff. He learns that the 616 version is the most powerful Scarlet Witch across all realities, and he plans to resurrect her using Franklin Richards' powers. And here's where we're getting into kind of spoiler territory if this ends up being true for the Fantastic Four First Steps. So if you don't want to hear about it, click away. It states, at the end of the film, Sue Storm dies, but Franklin brings her back to life with a touch. This ability becomes the key to Doom's plan to resurrect Wanda and use her. Finally, going to Loki is his last move. And going to Loki last does make sense for Doom's plan. And it's actually a report that we've heard from many different insiders at this point in time. In fact, when the Avengers Doomsday production infamous chair video came out, a lot of insiders stated online kind of the same thing. It all leads to the TVA. It all leads to Loki. And no matter what, even if this plot leak isn't real or the ones we've heard before aren't real, I think it leads to Loki no matter what. And the reason is because I believe in Secret Wars we get to Battleworld, which I do believe is going to simply be the Void, but that means that the multiverse has to be destroyed, and that's Loki right now. He is essentially the multiverse. He's holding it all together. Without Loki, there's no multiverse. And I'm assuming that at some point in time, Doom finds out about Loki, about the TVA. In fact, we've heard that he's upset with what Kang did, creating the TVA and secluding the sacred timeline. But Doom also needs to get to where Loki is because it exists outside of space and time. So if he wants to survive the end of the multiverse, that's where he needs to be. That's why this makes the most sense no matter what plot leak we're looking at, no matter what people say, it all makes sense that it would lead back to the Citadel because that exists outside of space and time. And right now, Loki is there holding the multiverse together, which at some point in time will need to essentially be destroyed. I do like this aspect of adding the Scarlet Witch in here, but having her resurrected, meaning that she is actually dead. And perhaps this does lead to her kind of being on Doom's side because he's the one that saved her. It is a very interesting twist, and Marvel has alluded that the Scarlet Witch is not done. Kevin Feige himself even said if you look when the Wundagore Mountain is collapsing on top of the Scarlet Witch, you can see a red light, implying that she might have done something to get away. But this plot leak says that she actually did die, but Doom will resurrect her, and Marvel could have very well changed their mind about her being dead or alive going into Avengers Doomsday with the Russo brothers and Stephen McFeely writing a completely new script for what was originally going to be Avengers the Kang Dynasty, so that could have totally changed. But I do like the idea of the Scarlet Witch being involved, and it would be really cool to see Doom use Franklin to revive her, and that would be specifically why Doom wants Franklin Richards from the Fantastic Four. It would also kind of imply that Doom is probably in that world and might have seen Franklin actually revive Sue Storm. This does kind of remind me of the end of the Fantastic Four, The Rise of the Silver Surfer, so I do wonder if Marvel would kind of take a page from that book and kind of do the same thing, except it's not the Silver Surfer, it's Franklin. Who knows? I will say it is a good way to show just how strong Franklin Richards is, so maybe they do go that way. But again, take this with a grain of salt, but let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let us know. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news, rumors, or leaks. You can find us on other social medias, and as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.